Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. This year, 2023, saw a number of releases from the Criterion Collection, and also related to that, which can also be found on the Criterion Collection website itself, we also have a line of releases that were started this year, and these are referred to as JANUS Contemporaries. And I was very intrigued when the announcement about JANUS Contemporaries was made earlier this year. And indeed, now that we're finding ourselves in the tail end of 2023, we are seeing the first of these releases coming about. And so what I'd like to propose is let us, you and I, talk about these releases, these JANUS Contemporaries, again in the context of the recent releases made by the Criterion Collection during this year of 2023. So let us speak about the JANUS Contemporaries releases, and let us begin with the release which is described as being, or for a film, described as being from the year 2022. And the name of the filmmaker is Louis Garrel. And please pardon me for my very poor pronunciation of the language. I hope you can forgive me. But the name of the film is L'Innocent, or as it's known in English, The Innocent. This is the work, this is the amazing work, so entertaining work from the year 2022 from the director Louis Garrel, and it has a great cast, included in which are Anouk Greenberg as Sylvie, and Horsti Zem as Michel, and Noémie Merlan as Clémence, and Louis Garrel as Abel, and others. This is a truly exhilarating and exciting work. My first time watching this film, in fact, courtesy of this great release of JANUS Contemporaries, this Blu-ray. And it is this film, which is L'Innocent, or The Innocent. And please pardon me for my very poor pronunciation of the language. I hope you can forgive me. The Innocent. Again, what a fun ride this is. I'm so happy to have been able to see this. And very exciting, very engaging, very funny film indeed. If I were to try to describe what this film is about, the plot of this film, I think I'd focus in on this wonderful character, Sylvie, who is an acting coach, an acting teacher, and we see her already engaged in teaching some of her students, acting students, who are currently in prison, one of which being the character of Michel, the Rostizem character. And we also understand that there is a very deep and intimate relationship between Sylvie and Michel, and it's a very important one, and this is a new important relationship in both their lives. Sylvie is also, there's also the Sylvie's son, who is Abel, the Louis Garrel character, and we understand that Abel also has a number of things going on in his life, and a number of tragedies in terms of what has happened in the past with him, and loved ones that he too has lost and is still trying to recover from that tragedy, that emotional pain that he is feeling. And part of that pain too is experienced with a friend, the Noémie Merlan character, Clémence. And so we have that compounded by, excuse me, the son, Abel's feelings towards his mother in the midst of this relationship with this ex-con, this person who is then able to be released from prison, and living and working with Sylvie and trying to restart his life, restart their lives in the context of trying to open a flower shop in the city. And therein lies part of the intrigue, because Abel, being not only in a feeling of maybe emotional distance perhaps, is also very suspicious. And he thus maybe comes to believe that perhaps Michel has not necessarily turned over a new leaf in terms of his criminal past. And so, is that the case or isn't it? Is Michel truly someone who can be trusted, or is there something else going on? And therein lies part of the quest or the journey and the hunt, if you will, for this type of information. And a lot of mistakes, a lot of miscommunications, a lot of comic hijinks occur. Really, really funny stuff. And we see in many ways how Abel is perhaps in over his head. There are a lot of things that he is very inexperienced about, which is also cause for a lot of hijinks and comedy abound. And Michel, what a brilliant character he is. And we see him assured. He's very suave. He's very cool. He's also very tender and sincere in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of feeling and emotion and a lot of intelligence that is on display too. And a part of that journey and the way we see that tenderness and emotion, excuse me, displayed is how he feels about Sylvie. And that relationship between Michel and Sylvie is one of the great heart and soul lifebloods of this film. It's a real strength of this film. That relationship and the performances from the actors here is really, really top notch. And what really carries the film through in terms of the heartwarming nature of this, as well as the heist caper aspects of this, as well as the comic touches of this, and also going to the other key relationship, that being Abel Louis Garrel and his relationship, his friendship with Clémence, as portrayed by Noémie Merlan. They are also in many ways sharing a sense of loss and perhaps even guilt because of the loss and tragedy that has befallen their lives themselves based on what has happened to a loved one, and how they are both respectively trying to deal with that emotional loss and emotional pain, and also how that forms their own relationship. There is this carefree spirit on display, especially on the part of the Clémence character, and the setting of the aquarium, which is also a really lovely touch. And also, they're working together to see if indeed this new person, this new love of Sylvie's life, that it being Michel, can be really trusted, or is there something else going on? And there's a lot of doubt too. Is Abel and Clemence making mistakes, or are they really onto something? And that's, I think, part of the charm and appeal of this, and the twists and turns, I should say, too, because it does delve into the notion of the criminal caper, the heist film, but in a very unexpected way. And let me put it that like that. So there's things involving aquariums and maybe a type of play within a play, acting within acting. And there's also the aspect of observing and spying on people, and this type of clandestine way, or not perhaps so clandestine as the case may seem, the way of spying on other people, and also distraction and the illusion, and how much of the illusion is fake and how much of it is actually real and authentic, and as well as the idea of the 80s, 70s, 80s thriller genre film, which is so lovingly portrayed, down to the way that music is used, down to the way that, say, a split screen, or many facets of the split screen are used. Oftentimes, more than two screens are employed, and I love the way that the horizontal line is used, the split screen effect. It has a very Brian De Palma film aesthetic. It's used also to a lot of great comic effect here. Well done. So that is also a type of homage to the Brian De Palma thriller aspect. Also, there's a lot of homage to films like Alfred Hitchcock. There's a lot of Rear Window, and a lot of chasing and discovering and investigating. And also miscommunication and misunderstandings that lead to comic hijinks that may or may not lead to further questions down the road. Let me put it that way. So, uh, uh, this is such a thrilling film. I love this from the get go. When I played it, I didn't quite know what to expect. I didn't know what I was in for. But when I finished it, I knew it was breathtaking in terms of its entertainment value. And I love the heart to this as well. And I mentioned the great performance here, Rostizem and Anouk Greenberg. Their performances are stellar. And there are some close-ups with some key critical moments in terms of their relationship, Michel and Sylvie, respectively, about the tenderness and also the critical points of the intensity of the relationship. And there are moments too when you see the looks on their faces. For example, there's a moment where Anu Quimber, you can see there's a slight twitch in her eye that when something happens occurs, which is remarkable. And then Rusty Zem as well. There are some moments where you see his look, and it registers something of a confidence, but there's also something masked that, or it could be a mask, or it could be the real deal. You don't know. That's another great thing about this. There's something of a suave nature, but it's also a feeling of authenticity, or could it? And that type of feeling in the air, which is that sense of being somewhat on edge, but always taken in and always swept up by the charisma and charm. That's such a great combination. So I love that performance. And then speaking of the other key relationship, that being between the characters portrayed by Noémie Merlan and Louis Garrel, who is also the director of this film, by the way. Noémie Merlan is just effervescent, and the way that she is just shining in terms of the outgoing nature of her character Clémence, and how that is a lovely contrast with the somewhat dour and very restrained character of Abel. This is the Louis Garrel character, but he's like that for a reason that we find out later in the film, and she is like this for a reason too, which we also find out later in the film. So there's this great sense of intense contrast that also is a great complement to each other, and that complementary feel also adds to a sense of tension between them. And also there's also tension too in terms of how they view the Sylvie-Michel relationship. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they disagree, which is also part of the fun and tension of this, and the drama, as well as the heart and soul, and how that turns out. It's really amazing. Plus you add into that there are aspects of the chase. There's aspects of let's say the heist and real intense showdown scenes. There's moments of like the romantic drama and will they or won't they type of deal, which is really very cleverly done. And it's also very funny. It's just really funny. I love how even these aspects of the thriller genre are employed in a very thrilling way, but also in a very funny way. And sometimes there's moments where you have the the split screen, where you have many panels at once. You have this idea of observing and looking at something. One character looking at something that may or may not be illicit or may or may not be criminal. We're not quite sure. And then another panel within the same split screen is talking about like uh, 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 something to do with cooking or cuisine, which is just wonderfully done. It's just a great thing. And even that idea of observation and looking is made fun of in the film with the characters in this lovely way. This almost great way to show the buffoonish quality of a number of the situations that I think lead to a great sense of comic timing and hijinks. Oh my goodness, this film! I thought this film was fantastic. I was just really from beginning to end, I was thoroughly entertained. So I'm very pleased with this film. A great first time watch for me. And I've now seen it a number of times now, courtesy of this great release, this Blu-ray release from JANUS Contemporaries Criterion Collection. And I should point out here that it says JANUS Films on the back, and also it says Criterion Channel with the Criterion logo on the back here. Can you see that? There you go. It says the Criterion Channel, JANUS Contemporaries. But what a lovely start to this line, JANUS Contemporaries. I am very impressed with this because this film is very impressive. That is the film by Louis Garrel, which is L'Innocent, or The Innocent. So let me now speak about other aspects of this Blu-ray release. So this is what I have here, which is the Blu-ray. And the disc is in the player right now, so it has this lovely motif. I open it up here, and it's a very, I think, simple design inside with this plastic casing. I've taken the liberty of removing the disc, which is in the player, and also the leaflet, which is a very, it's a maybe a fold-out a type of fold out thing which has some moments from the film. But then, and the characters that are portrayed. Plus, you have this write up, this essay, which is by Michael Joshua Rowan, which is called The Innocent Love and Larceny. It's a really great read. Please check it out if you can. It's a 2-page essay. And I suggest reading the essay, but watching the film first, and then you can read this great essay. Again, The Innocent Love and Larceny. Really great read, as well as the supplements which can be found. And we have 2 supplements. The first is, and please pardon me, it's a little bit maybe difficult to see because of the color scheme of this. White font on light pink background. That's probably one of the very minor criticisms I might have. Is it would have been nice to have had the font color a little bit more easier to read, because it's a little bit difficult for me to read white font on a light pink background. But I love the color palette, don't get me wrong. I think this pink and blue collage look is really cool. It just would have been great to have the font of the menu itself be a little bit more legible, maybe with a darker color font, maybe like blue or something like that. But in any event, that's a very minor point. We have here, play the movie. There aren't any chapter breakdowns here. It's just play the movie, although you can jump using the next button on the remote control. But there isn't any chapter breakdown in the menu. Just keep that in mind. But there is a subtitle option here in the menu itself. You can also use the remote control when you play the film. And then the supplements here are Meet the Filmmaker, and this Meet the Filmmaker series is, again, this is a discussion with the director Louis Garrel. And excuse me here. The filmmaker series, Louis Garrel, is a one-on-one discussion with Louis Garrel. He's speaking and he introduces himself, Louis Garrel does, and this is approximately 17 minutes. This is a wonderful introduction into the world of the cinema journey of Louis Garrel's work. And we understand that he was kind of experiencing the world of cinema from a very early age, due to his grandfather and his father, his mother and father as well, and his early appearance, Louis Garrel's early appearance in cinema, as well as his interest in acting, which he also speaks about here, and talking about his experience in watching the works, for example, of French cinema, and working with or experiencing engagement with Jean-Claude Carrière and storytelling, and this idea too of storytelling and the approach of Louis Garrel in the context of a work like The Innocent, where he is starring and also directing. He wanted to make a film that was focusing in on things that were very obviously and very purposefully not naturalistic, so non-naturalistic settings. So that allowed for a type of wonderful cinematic warping of geometry and geography, which I thought was a really interesting touch, especially towards some of the climactic moments of the film, which I think is great. And this idea of the warping of geometry is also at play when you think about how geometry is used in the split screen effect, which is also very cool indeed. Also this idea of using the hyper stylized forms to tell a story, which is great. He wanted to make a heist movie, but a heist movie with a twist. And so he said that heist movie or noir films, these are really fun and engaging modes of cinema and entertainment. But that when it came time for him to make, he just wanted to put little extra touches or spins to it just to make it a little bit different, and he does so. Some of the details, the MacGuffin or the so-called thing that the characters are all after in the film, the thing that is being stolen or something, the heist, whatever that might be. There's a real interesting twist to that. There's a really interesting twist to the heist element as well, how it's intertwined into the story and the narrative, which is really great. And He wanted to make Louis Garrel does. He wanted to make, in his words, a type of pop movie, and that's also due to the great use of music and the pop music aesthetic, which is so beautifully done. I love the use of music here, and it really captures a mood and a spirit and a type of ambiance. Which is helping also in many things too. He also mentions influences like Truffaut and the French New Wave, and using that as a way to describe the great universality of music, and how, again, as inspired by or understood by, say, Truffaut and others, Louis Garrel expresses how the use of music here is so universal that it can be understood by everyone, which is such a great point. Really great point. And so therefore the understanding that the use of music here is not just it's a great connection to genre, but it's also a great way to make this film yet even more accessible and more relatable, which is so brilliant, because it's a wild and fantastic ride, that's for sure. But there are so many moments that are so relatable and so honest, which makes it such a great enveloping experience, and makes it even more of a touching work indeed. The moments between, say, parent and child, mother and son, and the moments between people in very intimate setting, friend and friend, etc. So it's so great. So that idea of universality or relatability in the context of the application of music, such a great comment. And he speaks about other things too. There's a great quote he says about sort of anecdote about him and his film-loving friends. It says, "When a movie is good, you have the desire to live. When a movie is good, you have the desire to live." I think that is a great way of putting it. That is a really great way of putting it. So that's really wonderful. Really, really wonderful indeed. I love this discussion, Louis Garrel's discussion. I love it. Again, this is in many ways, for me personally, an introduction, an entry point into the say the cinema journey of my own Louis Garrel cinema journey, beginning with this film like The Innocent, and also this discussion. So it is 17 minutes. It's great. It's really great. For me, it served as a wonderful meeting for the first time, in a manner of speaking, this filmmaker, this actor and director. Great, great talent, Louis Garrel. Wonderful stuff. I enjoyed this very, very much. So this is the one-on-one interview with Louis Garrel, described here as Meet the Filmmaker. So I think that is, and also there's the trailer. Excuse me, what am I saying? I wanted to end there, but sorry about that. I forgot. There is also the trailer, which is also an option that you can find on the menu, the Blu-ray menu here, and the like. So I should point out there aren't any other credits I can find in terms of the layout of the booklet. I mean, it is a simple affair in terms of the pages. There, it's just this piece of paper that's folded in half like this. So there aren't any other indications about, say, the transfer or the credits, production credits, in terms of this Blu-ray or this release or the artwork, etc. So I can't speak to any of those points. And let's see. No, there's nothing on the back as well that points to that as well. So it's not like my usual experience with, say, other releases made by the Criterion Collection, physical media releases, because they'll usually have a fold-out or a booklet with some production credits, etc. So I don't see any aspects of, say, the production credits for the Blu-ray or this physical media release anywhere here, or I don't see anything on the back of the box here. So, but that's okay. And I don't see any indication about the transfer or the presentation, but that's okay. That's okay. That information, I'm sure, can be readily available, maybe online or wherever, if one chooses to seek it out. But for me, I think I therefore see this line, Janus Contemporaries, as being this great way to experience or entry point or re-experience or rewatch some of these quote-unquote recent releases, contemporaries, so recent releases from the past few years. Here, the film being described as, again, 2022. So far, I think the Janus Contemporaries line will be films that I will be watching for the first time, and if The Innocent is any indication, that I'm sure I'm going to be enjoying them along the way. But for now and for the time being, I have this film to keep me company if I want to revisit it. And my goodness, what company it keeps. So I enjoy this thoroughly, and I'm very, very happy to have been able to watch it on this new lineup of JANUS Contemporaries, this film, which is The Innocent. All right, my dear friends, so that's it for now. And so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well. And please keep on watching a lot of great, great, great movies, including The Innocent, including other films in the JANUS Contemporaries lineup. And we will talk about those in future videos, including other works by Louis Garrel and beyond. So until the next video, my dear, dear friends, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.